Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh yeah, letting Brandon Calhoun bring us in.
I'm so glad we actually found the song.
I know, so happy we get to have the real song straight from the source. Hey AfterBuzzers, and welcome to another Battle Creek after show. Tonight we're going to talk about Season 1, Episode 6, Serial Killers. But before we dive into that, I want to make sure you guys are all subscribed to us on YouTube, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. You can also catch all of our podcasts on iTunes and SoundCloud, so be sure you follow us there as well, and download, rate, comment, subscribe, you name it, all those things. And throughout the week, be sure you guys hit us up and tweet at us, comment on the YouTube videos. We want to know what you guys think of everything. My name's Lauren Salaun. You can find me on Twitter at Lauren Salaun, and I'm joined tonight by Gary Thomas. Gary, how's it going, and where can everyone find you on Twitter?
Fan-freaking-tastic. And of course, you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Gary Thomas. And of course, IamGaryThomas.com.
Perfect. Like it. Straight and simple.
Right.
There we go. All right. So, serial killers. The episode opens up with the 31st annual breakfast day at Battle Creek, which might actually be a real thing.
You looked at well, I know you were going to look it up. I wasn't sure if you found the answer.
I didn't look up about the actual annual breakfast day, but Battle Creek is, in real life, nicknamed Cereal City because it has the world headquarters of the Kellogg Company, which was founded in 1906. So that's a long time of having, the cereal being a major staple in, the business world and kind of the lives of all the people in Battle Creek. And it's also the founding location of Post Cereals, which is now Post Foods, and Ralston Foods cereal factory. I don't know Ralston Foods, but
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So lots of cereal going on in Battle Creek. So
I think that's the cool thing about Michigan. There's so much history. GM, Kellogg, everything is
big
just,
business
right
over there. Totally. So I'm guessing cereal day or breakfast day is a real thing. If you guys out there watching are from the area or know if that's a real day, or if you live in Battle Creek and you guys have cereal day or breakfast day, I keep
breakfast day
mixing it up. Breakfast day. Let us know.
So I can
That'd
attend.
Be so cool. I know.
I love cereal.
Seriously. Speaking of cereal, what's your favorite cereal?
My favorite cereal is oddly enough that Smacks cereal.
Smacks? Is that's the one with the frog?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a bear or a frog or one of the two.
I've never had that one. My favorite dessert treat cereal would have to be Golden Grahams or Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Who doesn't love Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
So good. But then my classic cereal is Cheerios. I mean, that's what I grew up eating.
Right. Who doesn't love that one either?
Right.
But French Toast Crunch is really good too.
Oh yeah, like a tiny pieces of French toast. Anyway, enough of that. Also, guys out there, what is your favorite cereal? We're talking about cereal. Now I want a bowl of cereal instead of a glass of water right now. All right, so at the breakfast day celebration, there is a shooting, and the mascot and the mayor both get shot. So we end up learning, the mayor is very well regarded in the town, who is, guest star Patton Oswalt for this week. So that's kind of fun having a big name in there. And then we end up learning that this mayor, who is so beloved, is kind of a little druggy.
He's a crackhead.
Yeah,
he's like, this is not a bong. What is he was like, this is a pipe.
This isn't a bong. This is a pipe. And
like,
Russ is like, yeah, for smoking crack. Which, I mean, this definitely, that whole angle is taking the comedy side of things.
Yeah.
Hardcore. I think last week we had a lot of the more serious stuff. And I know we were talking about how last week was one of our favorite episodes. And this week went back to the kind of more lighthearted stuff. But I think on the whole, we saw a lot more twists in this episode than we maybe have seen in
There
others.
were twists left and right.
Right.
This was one of the ones I would say was the hardest to actually solve, because sometimes we were cluing in on how to give us the killer right away, and you just kind of miss that person. This one just had me all over the place. It was like, wait a minute, who was being shot? Wait, who was the target? Who wasn't the target?
Right. Yeah. And while we're watching it, I mean, I think I've come to realize that the way they do it, whoever the bigger name actor is that isn't one of the recurring actors, they're going to be involved in some very important way in whatever crime's going on. So Patton Oswalt was the victim, and then his brother Randall, who I am blanking on the actor's name, but I've seen him in tons of stuff. You know, when I saw him as the brother, I'm like, oh, he's involved in some way. Right. You know, maybe just the mayor's brother, or maybe he knows, but he ended up being the guy behind it all. But yeah, a number of different twists along the way, you know, from the mayor getting kidnapped out of the hospital so he can go do drugs. He thought he was just going to, like, you know, take a little field trip with his drug dealer.
He wasn't trying to miss the poker game. He never misses the game. So he had to go hang out and smoke some crack.
Yeah, right? Like,
shot or not.
Who like just hangs out and does crack recreationally? That's pretty serious, right? You don't just like go smoke a little crack during poker night.
Like... that's not heard of to me, but again, we are not in the drug world, so maybe we are just not in the loop.
High functioning people do crack every once in a while,
right? Just a little poker game, you know, a little pinochle and a little pipe, no big deal. Like, we're not in the drug world, so we don't know. So
pinochle and your pipe,
right.
I like that. Yeah, so lots of twists. Mayor ends up, you know, they find him, they kind of clear out the drug thing and all that, and then the mascot is also released from the hospital and shot. And so then they focus in on, okay, is it the mascot who is the real target? And they start questioning, you know, his teachers and other students who could have potentially like built this high-tech robotics, you know, sniper rifle and all that. And they end up thinking it is this kid, JJ, at school who was harassing him, possibly because he was gay, or ends up being that he was jealous of him because he really wanted to be the mascot.
What?
I thought that was like a way of saying like he's the cool guy at school. And I'm like, oh no, he means literally the Tomcat.
Yeah, literally the mascot. He said he had been cheering every year so he can become the mascot.
Right? That's dedication. Right. I would be a little pissed if I joined cheerleading for 4 years just so that my senior year I could be a mascot and didn't get it.
That's so sad.
Right?
It's the most pathetic thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, poor kid. Anyway, I actually thought it was going to go somewhere with that kid a little bit further than it did. But when they were kind of interrogating him, it did feel like, oh no, I think this
it was
is
just too
end.
good. It was too good. He was like, I called my mom. I really called my mom, and they just started shooting. Like, it was already like, yeah, there's no reason to not believe him.
Right. Oh, which brings me back to, you know, so that whole thing, he was talking about calling his mom and the call wouldn't go through, which leads them back to, okay, well, maybe we're focusing on the wrong time frame with the technology and the data that we're looking at. So can we talk about this their technology thing? Obviously, the whole
unbelievable.
Thing,
not even, no way can be real.
Right. Exactly. So the guys in Battle Creek are always griping about how their technology is so bad and, you know, they don't have updated resources. And here comes Milt with all his fancy technology, some of which I'm sure is very accurate and actually
I can't believe anything in this show.
No, this
so futuristic.
Especially today. This one was so ridiculous. He's like got all the little circles on the people talking on the phone and like it just seemed way too.
It was just way too unreal. Like, yeah, we got this shot radar, then you can narrow in all the people who are actually on the phone during something. Like, come on.
It could only be these 15 people in this 2,000 square foot space. That seemed a little too outlandish. And I think as we watch it, sometimes I know I get caught up in thinking, okay, I'm watching a crime show sometimes. Oh, wait, no, I'm watching a comedy. Don't take this crime stuff too seriously, you know, because I'm sitting there like, oh, yeah, right. That would not be happening that way.
It definitely makes you think, like, does the FBI really have all of this or no?
I can't even imagine the kinds of stuff that they have that we don't know about. It's so
ridiculous. But, though, Battle Creek is so ridiculous, though, with it. I can't.
Yeah, It got to be a little much this week, I feel like.
Right, this week particularly.
Yes, particularly, especially this week. And Milt and Russ even have a whole back and forth about technology, period, you know? Russ is always giving Milt a hard time because Russ likes to use his brain and deductive reasoning to figure out the answers. And as we've seen so far, a lot of the time, Russ is right, too. So it hasn't always been Milt and his technology winning all the time. But this week, Milt pretty much was right the whole time.
For the most part, you know, Milt is not my favorite number all the lines he's done. But I'll let it slide. He had some good stuff this week.
Yeah. So we end up learning that Daryl, the mayor's brother, was the shooter. And I thought it was very interesting during the negotiation speech. So when they're or not negotiation, I guess when
interrogating him, or the brother went in?
They're trying to get him off the edge. Yeah. You know, when he's contemplating jumping off the building, and Milt and Russ are talking him down, and Russ, of course, is taking the hard ass line. You know, you hated your brother, just do it, no big deal. You know, and Milt, of course, is being more empathetic, and it seemed like Milt went to a place that was very personal, which could have just been a trick in his smart, negotiating
mind.
Right. But it did seem like he was going to a place of thinking, he said something like, helping somebody, you've been helping someone for so long who doesn't want your help, and it feels like you're doing it all for nothing, something like that. So
could he have been talking about Russ?
I don't know. I felt like that was going back to pre-Battle Creek days for Milt.
That I was thinking that originally, but when you start actually voicing it, and I was thinking about the scene, I started thinking about Russ. I'm here to help you, and all you do is bash me. And I even brought
think of it that way.
Maybe it was getting personal like that.
Yeah.
But originally when I was watching it, I thought what you were thinking. It could have been something in the past. But
but it could very well be him.
How he feels about Milt.
Talking about Russ,
or Russ, Milt talking about Russ,
Interesting, and then after that, so they bring this guy in, and the mayor has a heart attack. So that was another twist. We've got the twist of the mayor getting kidnapped by his drug dealer, which wasn't kidnapping after all. The mascot then getting released and shot. So then it's the mascot, and then the kids at school, and so all these kind of pulling us in a lot of different directions this week. And that last one with the mayor getting a heart attack that they think was induced by something, that someone drugged him in a way to have a heart attack, and that whatever medication you would give somebody who was having a heart attack, that would end up killing him for good. And I like how Russ and Milt were there in the ER room and ended up pretty much solving, saving his life essentially, which again, very unrealistic, but it was fun to have.
Don't take it. There. I mean, we need to stop taking away from the writers. It may be possible. Not really, but I want to give you guys the credit of what you do. No, but
the thing that for us as viewers is to remember that it's a crime procedural and comedy. Mm-hmm. So that's where we have to be lenient with the real life situations and technology and things like that, because it's very much a comedy too.
I think that's what's hard about it.
More a comedy.
I think that's what's hard about getting into the show sometimes. As soon as you're invested in the crime part, it's comedy.
Yeah.
Now you're invested in the comedy because you're laughing, and then there's back to crime. So it's definitely finding that balance in order to make find your audience, I guess.
Right. I totally agree. And I would say with the two episodes that we've liked the most, the one last week with Goosewitz and all her old boyfriends and getting her house burned down and stuff, and then with the little girl and the drugs in the backpack, those I think stood out a lot because they were more dramatic and more crime focused, but still had a lot of comedy. But I think we get more invested in them when we see that kind of those deeper storylines and the more dramatic storylines, and getting to know the characters better and on that deeper level. So hopefully we get more of that mixed in, and more kind of drama with kind of dashes of comedy. So I think I agree. I think I like the episodes that are a bit more hard hitting and then have the sprinkles of comedy, because the comedy when it happens is great. But I do think that you get pulled into the show more when it's got those kind of stronger storylines. I definitely
think that they're starting something new with this show. It's just hard to really get into right now because it is just a kind of a newer concept. You do have shows that mix it too, but it's just the way they're mixing it. It's so heavy on both sides that you can't really say, oh, this is a crime show or this is a comedy. Right. It's literally both at all times.
Right. And sometimes we'll get an episode that's really crime and dramatic, and then get another one that's really comedy focused. So, I think maybe they're also feeling out which direction is the best way to go.
But the subplots, the B storyline is always comedic. It's always comedic.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Which, why don't we talk about tonight's B storyline? So we've got Funk and Font talking about the wedding venue, and they've got this Mayfair wedding venue, Mayfield wedding venue in mind, and that's Shailene's dream venue, and Font was supposed to put the deposit down and secure it, and he didn't do that, so he's kind of like in a pinch with needing to figure this out for them, and Holly ends up helping them as well with this. And I thought it was so funny. So we've got Font doing all these things to try and figure out how to get this venue for them, and ends up going to this yoga class so the date ended up getting reserved by some other couple who's going to now get married there when Funk and Shailene were supposed to. And so he crashes her yoga class that she's teaching and tells her that, some terrible crime happened there. We just have to let everybody know. And
we haven't
captured them, but we think they're targeting the venue, not the people who were there that day. So you may want to move your wedding.
No one in their right mind will believe some hogwash like that.
Yeah, not at all. And he's like, oh, by the way, I think they're probably refunding deposits too. And of course, Holly ends up being in the class.
Where isn't Holly?
Right? That threw me off, actually, initially. I was like, wait, why is she there too? And it's like very elaborate plan to convince this girl not to have her wedding there, because then Holly's like, oh, I was married there 6 years ago and then we got a divorce.
She's like, the best 4 years. You're like, you said 6 years. She's like, oh, the 2 years of paperwork and crying, no big deal. Divorces don't happen because of venues.
Yeah, bad juju for that venue. And we end up learning that Shailene ends up deciding to have the wedding at the house after all, because she heard from her Pilates instructor, who heard from some yoga teacher that the groom killed the bride there, like stabbed her with a cake knife like 17 times, and it's hot, all these bad vibes and stuff, and it just ends up biting Font in the butt, which was so funny. I thought they did a great job with that.
Is Shailene not your most favorite unseen character ever?
I can't wait to meet Shailene.
The stories Funk says.
I hope she's such a good cameo.
Yeah, she has to be like a fireball. She's gonna be so funny.
Oh gosh, I can't even imagine. Any ideas who she could be?
I have no idea.
I don't
know. That's gonna be great though.
I think it's gonna be good.
She has to be hilarious.
Yeah, she's got to be, firecracker for sure, too. Oh, I can't wait to meet Shailene. Well, when's their wedding supposed to be? Do we know?
No.
What the time frame is? Because maybe we'll see the wedding.
This whole Funk and Shailene thing is just so odd. All we ever hear is about her doing something crazy, So they never really say anything specific.
Right. Well, they had the bachelor party already, so generally you don't do that too far out, so maybe we're getting ready for the actual big day, but you would make sure you have your venue locked down well in advance before you have a bachelor party. That's for sure. That's not
of course, but I think we're just I'm gonna wait till later in the show to say that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Like a prediction.
Okay, I can't wait to meet Shailene. So we didn't really get anything with Holly and Russ this week. We did, though, learn kind of in the beginning. So you know how Holly is planning on going to law school, and so she's she's applying and all that, and she mentions a case. Yeah,
law school. We haven't solidified this whole thing yet.
Right. So she mentions a case. Oh, in they did XYZ, and so she's pulling that law school prep information out and kind of has to hide it again. So it seems like she's still on that track to applying at least, but who knows if she's really gonna go. Or
the writers are trying to throw us off.
Or they're just trying to trick us. Yeah, they're trying to trick us and Russ as well.
Right. Russ looked different this episode, by the way.
He had a haircut.
Yeah, was that just it?
I think so. I think it was the crisp haircut. Maybe. Yeah, just Milt seemed like cleaner. He had a haircut too. Maybe everyone.
Well, Milt is always clean cut.
Yeah.
Russ is not always clean cut. He always kind of
rough around the edges. Yeah. But I think maybe it was just the haircut for Russ. But anyway, so not much with Holly and Russ this week. So I think we'll probably get some of that maybe next week a little bit. But I felt like this episode was was fun. It was fun to see some of the bigger name actors guest starring as well. And I think for for next week we've got Candice Bergman guest starring as Russ's mom, which I think is gonna be awesome.
I love cameos.
Yeah, love cameos, and I think they so far have been doing a great job of pulling in some bigger names.
Definitely.
Thus far, so I'm pretty excited. Yeah. So what? Any other goodies from this week?
No, I definitely I want to look up Goosewick's son because he randomly showed up. I don't know whether it's because it's Battle Creek somehow relate to my account, but you know how people show up in your popular page. He randomly showed up in my popular page and like about music and doing stuff, but I never really looked up his name. I was just like, I recognize that guy, and it was like, oh yeah, I recognize him. I watched him on Battle Creek, so maybe we need to like pay attention to what he's doing too.
Yeah, see what he's up to. He was in the episode a lot. Strong dramatic performance.
Maybe a rising star there.
Yeah, maybe we'll get him as a guest. Perhaps?
I think we should definitely reach out to him. I mean, he's not too big yet where he might snub us.
No, come on. We have a lot of fun down here.
I know. So we should reach out to him.
Yeah, I think so. So should we dive into some predictions?
Absolutely. I'm ready for that.
Let's do it. Shake Bell's predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Alrighty. I don't know that I have any solid predictions. I'm very excited about Candice Bergman guest starring. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And in the kind of, what to expect next week teaser, we do see that she's like a con artist, which is so funny. Of course, Russ's mom would be a con artist. But I do think that with Russ's mom being on the show, I think Milt's going to get some kind of history about Russ.
Yeah.
That's obviously going to make Russ feel super uncomfortable and, like out of place and stuff and out of his comfort zone. And so I think Milt and Russ's mom are, of course, going to bond, and she's going to share all these...
Because she's going to, of course, like Milt.
Of course, like everybody. And so I bet she's going to share some embarrassing stories about Russ that he doesn't want people to know, especially Milt. I think Russ and Holly are going to have a flirting moment. We didn't really see any of that.
Maybe they'll give it a break for a little while and bring it back. Like, just remind you.
Was this week a break from it? Maybe it was. I'm hoping next week we get some flirting action.
Right.
She didn't mention anything about her love life because last week we left off she was going on a date with
the coffee
shop man. So yeah, those are my small little predictions. How about you?
I agree with those, and I think we're on the brink of Milk because towards the end when he's talking about, I'm in Battle Creek now, just the whole commentary between them is like we are slowly but surely getting to the point of why Milt is in Battle Creek.
Right. I wonder if Russ's mom might get Milt to open up a little. She is a con woman. Maybe she'll be able to weasel her way into some info.
Maybe she'll be the only one that can outsmart
Milt.
That'd be cool to see.
Very interesting. Yeah, I'm really excited for next week. I like when they give us those kind of special episodes. So yeah, I think that kind of covers it.
It definitely does cover Battle Creek serial killers.
I know, serial killers. Puns again with the titles, as they do every week. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching along. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode too. Let us know what's your favorite cereal. What did you think of the episode? Tell us. Is Breakfast Day a real day in Battle Creek?
So we want
to know that too. Yeah, be sure to tweet at us, comment, you name it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. I'm Lauren Salaun, and you can find me all over the internet at Lauren Salaun. That's Salaun. And Gary, where can everyone find you online?
Very, very simple and straight to the point. I am Gary Thomas on Instagram and Twitter, and I am GaryThomas.com.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.